Welcome to the Calling All Creeps podcast. My name is Bryce.
And I'm Nathan.
And tonight we're going to be talking about the book that started it all. The Goosebumps book, Calling All Creeps. And the episode of the TV show.
Aw, yeah.
But Nathan, before we get into that, I've got a question for you.
And what could that be?
Why are ghosts bad liars?
I don't know, because they don't exist.
Because you can see right through them.
Oh, fuck off.
All right, yeah, but no, okay. So, Nathan, you read the book and watched the episode for this recording tonight. Is this your first time reading or watching this?
It's highly likely that I watched and read this when I was a child, but I don't have any memory of it. I do have a personal history with Goosebumps, but I don't recall this story. So, for all intents and purposes, it might as well be the first time.
Gotcha. I know we'll eventually do a Goosebumps overall episode later on. I know we're just focusing on the one book tonight, but go ahead and, give us a little bit of your history with Goosebumps.
Well, when I was a very young child, like a lot of kids our age, I was aware of it. And I had some of the books. I'm sure I was probably checking them out at the school library and stuff like that. But what I really recall is the TV episodes.
Really?
Which I'm guessing were sort of concurrent. Yeah, I remember the TV episodes more than anything. And really dating myself here, but I remember when there were VHS tapes for rent at your local grocery store. So I remember being a little kid and my parents taking me to the grocery store, and there was a VHS checkout section inside the Dillons. And there was a subsection within that of Goosebumps tapes because they were so popular. And I remember seeing the Night of the Living Dummy tape on full display with the creepy-looking dummy on front and being just petrified of it, but also just fascinated and intrigued. And I remember watching some of these things, mostly with my grandma. And interestingly enough, the episode that I remember the most of all is the, I can't remember what it's called, but it's where some kids go and visit a medieval torture chamber-themed museum exhibit.
Yeah.
And that was just, like, terrifying to me as a kid, but I was so drawn to it, too.
Oh, that's so cool. That's a great story. For rent at Dillons, I don't think I ever saw Goosebump VHS tapes for rent at Dillons. But I'm a little bit of the opposite, where I'm more familiar with the books. My brother's a bit older than me, and so he had started collecting them before I did. And I think between the both of us, we ended up collecting, I think I have all the original 52 or so books, and so I just had them on hand, and I read them over and over and over and over again, and I never got to watch much of the TV series, but I did have a few VHS tapes of episodes, such as The Haunted Mask and the one you're talking about. I didn't get to watch the rest of the TV series until I was an adult, and it was on YouTube, or maybe it's on a streaming service or something.
Interesting, because when I was a kid, and like my impression of the franchise as a whole has always been that it's like that theme, the TV show music is what people think of.
Oh, for sure.
For the longest time, I thought that the show was like the famous Goosebumps thing more than anything else.
It's hard to say. Yeah, I don't know. So I was more of a reader growing up, so the books come to mind more, but the theme song is undeniably
iconic.
Classic. Yeah, totally iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of Goosebumps without thinking of this theme song. That being said, as much as I enjoy the TV series, most of the time I don't like them compared to the books. The show kind of sucked a little bit, and so I don't think of the show so much, because at least compared to the books, and I read the books so often, and I've probably seen the episodes. I've probably seen all the episodes a few times. But yeah, they were kind of then not as good as the books. So books come to mind first. So I never think about the show so much as I again think of the theme song and the books at the same time.
I will say, and we'll get into this more later, but I much preferred the book version of this story to the TV version. Although, like, the TV episode of Calling All Creeps was good. It was fine, but I was actually surprised by how much I enjoyed the book on this. It's pretty well written.
Yeah, ever since I started reading it, it's in my top 3 favorite Goosebump books. Right up there with Cuckoo Clock of Doom and Haunted School. Those are so good. And I remember this is the only one where at the end, like, I remember getting like the like the shock of because all the books have a twist ending, and this is like the first one where I remember feeling a little bit of like the shock and horror at the end result of the twist of this book.
Yeah, well, it's the audacity of having an unhappy ending.
Yeah, and they all kind of have like a bad twist ending, but this one got me more than the other ones, and so that in general is always stuck with me, and so I've always just thought of this book, and so that's obviously why when I started doing the band and doing this podcast, we just snatched that name, Calling All Creeps. It's such a good name, and I just want to ode out to what a great book that was, and how that book just is so quintessential in my younger self being into horror and Goosebumps.
So then let me ask you this: why the fixation on this story in particular as opposed to other Goosebumps stories? I mean, you seem to really identify with this specific story. With your band name, you have a song called Calling All Creeps, now it's the podcast. It's kind of your whole brand. Why this story?
Again, it all goes to the twist ending. As much as like some of the other stories might be better, I probably kind of like Cuckoo Clock of Doom and Haunted School. Cuckoo Clock of Doom might be my favorite. Haunted School, I think, might be the best written Goosebump book, best story. And Calling All Creeps is also just really good, but the ending, I remember it so vividly even right now, how much the ending affected me the first time I read it. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, oh my God, he just did that, which we'll get into. But yeah, so it just, I don't know, it stuck with me for that. And it's also just a really catchy title, and it's a really great cover art.
Mm-hmm. Well, the artwork on all of these books is just really cool stuff. A quintessentially 90s art style. Nobody really draws like that anymore. The covers for all these books are fascinating.
I know, yeah. Most of the books are done by Tim Jacobus, who's an incredible artist. I think maybe the first book or two, I'm pretty sure that the second book, Stay Out of the Basement, wasn't Tim Jacobus, and maybe Dead House wasn't. I could be wrong. But most of the original series, all the artwork's done by Tim Jacobus, and as anyone who's a fan of the book series knows, these covers Goosebumps would not be the same without these amazing book covers.
Worth the value of the book, really.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just to own that piece of art. All right, well, yeah, let's go ahead and start talking about this. Calling All Creeps is book number 50 in the Scholastic Goosebumps series, released in December 1996. R.L. Stine said that he was inspired to write this book because of a prank he pulled in college that backfired on him.
It'd be interesting to know more about that.
Yeah, I couldn't find any more about that besides a prank he pulled and backfired. But he's a really funny guy, R.L. Stine. Again, more of a, if you know anything about him, he's more of a comedy joke writer than he is a scary story writer. He just kind of got stuck with the Goosebumps stuff. And
I remember as a kid, it seemed like R.L. Stine was the star of the show as much as any of his characters. I remember him, I guess he would do intros for the TV episodes or something.
Yeah, man.
Somehow. I remember him being on TV and being like, "Hello, I'm R.L. Stine.
Oh, yeah,
I've got a creepy story for you."
He seems so bored with it on the TV, on the episodes. It's so funny. But I love watching interviews with him and stuff. Seems like a super nice guy.
Better look under the bed at night before you go to sleep. And when you make new friends, always check to see who's dead and who's alive. Viewers beware, you're in for a scare.
But yeah, so let's get into the story here. This starts out with Ricky sneaking out of the house to school for revenge. He's talking about, the school wouldn't suck so much, except everyone in the school is a jackass, and they're always bullying him, calling him Ricky Rat, calling him Sticky Ricky. And so he's headed there to spy on Tasha and the teacher who are on the computer for the school paper. And Tasha is just a super bitch to him, and she's even turned the teacher against him. So this kid's got no friends, and even the teachers are bullying this kid or treating him wrong. And so while they're in there working on that, they leave the room, and he sneaks in and into the paper for the next day. He types in really small print at the bottom, calling all creeps, calling all creeps. If you're a real creep, call Tasha after midnight.
I just wonder about the phrasing, calling all creeps. I feel like maybe nowadays there might be different connotations or different baggage attached to that word, because when I hear creeps, I think of like a pervert or something, right? Did it mean something different in the 90s? I don't get it.
Yeah, I think it is very different now. It's unfortunate. And yeah, back then, I don't know. I think you call someone a creep if they were just like a jerk.
It seems like a very 90s thing to me. I don't recall ever being called a creep when I was a kid. I remember being called a wiener once. That's about as close as it got.
No, I don't think I ever was called or called anyone, but I do remember other people being like, oh yeah, he's a real creep. And then, yeah, I feel like you did see it probably in a lot of books and television of the time.
When Ricky's like, oh, I better make sure that all the real creeps call Tasha, this girl at school who's been bothering me. I don't know, feels kind of different now, but I guess his intention is just for kids to harass her for bullying him, more or less, because the idea here is that Tasha is like just a really mean-spirited child who's been giving Ricky a hard time, and he resents the fact that she has this kind of authority over him somewhat, because she's kind of like the ringleader of the school newspaper.
Yeah, because she's always given him bad newspaper articles to write, and then not even publishing what he writes. She's a couple grades older than him, and treats him pretty poorly and calls him names, and yeah, just gives him a really hard time in the school newspaper. Makes his life pretty miserable. And it sucks too that a student like that could get a teacher to be against you as well, because you'd kind of hope you could turn to the teacher when you're being bullied at school, but it doesn't work if the teachers feels the same way as the rest of the students.
Yeah, it seems like even the teachers they treat him much the same as the other kids. Like I don't know what Ricky did. I don't know why he's such a target, but he is.
Yeah, I don't know why either, but I also don't know why this scenario even works. Like, can you imagine one of the students reading the school newspaper and being like, "Oh yeah, I'm a creep. I'm a real scumbag. I better give this number a call." I can't imagine.
Yeah,
outside of the creatures in the book, I can't imagine any other student identifying himself with such a negative word and being like, "Oh, great, a phone number for assholes. That's me."
Yeah, like wouldn't the point be to call her the creep since he's always being called a creep? But yeah, it doesn't really make a ton of sense.
Yep, but it works for the story. And
indeed.
Yeah, and so we'll be talking about the book and the episode, and so I'll probably, some of the episodes are really different from the book, and some of the episodes aren't even from the books, but this one is not too far off from the book, so I might just bring up the differences here and there as I think of them. But one of the first things I notice is that in the book they point out that he writes "calling all creeps" really small in the paper so that it's not very noticeable. He's hoping Tasha won't realize he writes it in there. But in the episode, it's like huge. It's at the bottom of the newspaper, but it's like this big block of letters. That's super obvious to notice. Yeah, but so he gets that in there. almost gets caught sneaking out, but you do find out the next day that he did get caught. Tasha did notice him escaping and notice what he put in the paper. I believe in the episode there were only 3 bullies, but in the book there's 4 bullies, and Wart is the only one whose name I care to remember, but he's really short in the book, and he was a pretty big kid in the episode. But yeah, so it shows Ricky is in class, and the new kid shows up named Iris, and she gets seated next to him, and the teacher assigns him to have him show her around the school, and he's super geeked out, excited. He's like, hey, a new person who probably, who doesn't have a negative opinion of me right off the bat. She's really cute. He's really geeked up to show this chick around and try to be cool, probably.
This ended up being the most interesting stuff in the book for me, I think, is the stuff with Iris, which is kind of glossed over in the TV episode, I feel. But this is kind of where you get to see a little bit of the protagonist's depth, and he's sort of he's starting to have like romantic associations and feelings about women and girls, which is sort of interesting. The way he's written is interesting. He feels like a real child, and I found myself most engaged really with the stuff involving Iris, and I even kind of wish that there was a little bit more of that in the book to flesh his character out a bit more.
Right, that would have been pretty cool. Yeah, he's in the 6th grade now, and so yeah, probably about the time to start not thinking girls are icky, man. Yeah, but so he's showing her around, and they're in the cafeteria getting lunch, and he makes the observation that, hey, this mac and cheese here, we think this mac and cheese has been the same mac and cheese served all year round. No one eats it. It's got this disgusting thick crust on it. And while they're walking back to sit down, Wart trips him, and he spills his food and gets it all over his face and stuff. That's pretty embarrassing. And then later in the newspaper room, he's in there trying to figure out what his next assignment is, and everyone's kind of giving him the cold shoulder. And then Wart and another guy are in there bullying him again, trying to take his soda from him. And he's like, get lost. This is my soda. And they end up sending it flying across the room, spilling it all over Tasha's keyboard and computer that she's working on. And she kicks him off the paper. And so I think this would be the night that he actually goes in to write Calling All Creeps in the paper. And so he's feeling pretty proud of himself.
His problem seems to be that he keeps supposedly screwing things up, but the reason is always due to these bullies who are harassing and abusing him and causing him to spill drinks and break a camera, just do whatever, and he gets the blame for it, which is very true to childhood experiences, I think. When you're at an age where you're getting messed with a lot, maybe, and you lack the language and the ability to kind of stand up for yourself and explain to the adults exactly what happened. Well, you see, the reason I spilled that drink is because I got pushed. Blah, blah, blah.
Right. That's something you see constantly, is he never gets a chance to prove everybody wrong about him. Everyone's got these preconceived notions about him. And anytime he, tries to do a good job on his stories, no one publishes them. Anytime he tries to, could explain himself or something like that for an issue that went wrong, or prove that he's, not as bad as everyone thinks, no one gives him the time of day for it. Pretty sad. So he's talking to Iris on the phone later, and he tells her, like, hey, what he did. He's like, oh, check out this prank I pulled on Tasha to get back at her. And she's like, oh man, that's actually not what got printed in the paper. Turns out Tasha, again, discovered what he had done and changed it and put his name and phone number in the paper instead. Back then, you could just publicly find everybody's name and phone number. I always wondered how he had her phone number, but when I was in school, the school handed out a booklet of the phone numbers, names, and addresses of all the parents in the school.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, right. It didn't seem crazy back then. It was like this great book. If I was like, oh yeah, oh, I should call that kid up and invite him to my birthday party or something. I could flip open this book and, find his parents in there and call him up and talk to him that way. And it seemed pretty cool, and it seemed like all the parents, kind of were able to use it to get together and stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, a little less privacy than we attempt nowadays. But yeah, so his name and phone number has been put in there for the creeps to call instead. And so immediately after midnight, he starts getting the calls. These calls are saying, hey, I'm a real creep. When do we meet? And he's like, oh, crap, all these phone calls are keeping me up all night. It sucks. But, he figures it's just a practical joke. And like R.L. Stein's real-life scenario, his school prank has backfired on him. So the next day at school, something's different. He's not getting bullied so much. And those 4 main bullies who were usually giving him a hard time, they're not giving him a hard time today. And during lunch, he gets a note thrown over to him. And it says, like, when will the creeps meet? The joke's probably going too far for him. But after school, the bullies haul him off to the woods, and these guys just start apologizing. Oh, man, we had no idea. And he's like, what are you talking about? And they out themselves as creeps, and they now have the assumption, due to the ad in the paper, that he's their commander. Then they transform into these great, scaly, purple lizard creatures.
It just so happens that he gets called a creep a lot, and that's like his thing as a bullied kid. But then there's also an alien species of creatures called creeps.
Yeah.
That call themselves creeps, that are just happen to be waiting to be summoned. I don't really, I don't get the the fantastical horror elements in this story are very unexplained and kind of overly convenient.
Yeah, I guess them being like these alien lizards, sort of even kind of makes it a bit of a sci-fi story. But
well, it's like they look like Jurassic Park velociraptors.
Right, yeah.
They look like dinosaurs.
Yeah, and there's their English translation of their name, I guess, is creeps. And their commander, whoever he is, you gotta wonder who he is and where he is, because apparently he hasn't shown up, and so these kids, they only have 1 more week to complete their mission before they fail. And so, cutting it pretty close for the real commander to not have shown up. But they assume, due to the ad in the paper, that he's actually their commander. So they're apologizing for bullying him. They turn into these purple monsters. Probably the biggest difference in the book versus the episode is in the episode, they are yellow creatures. Yellow lizard guys. And they've just got like these rubber masks and gloves on in the episode, but still pretty fun. I don't know why they decided to switch to yellow instead of purple. I really like the purple guys on the front cover in the book, but yeah.
Well, the bigger twist to me is the fact that in the TV episode, it's tuna surprise, or like tuna, some kind of tuna casserole thing instead of mac and cheese. I felt the most cheated and betrayed by that change.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was like, where's the fucking mac and cheese? That's the heart and soul of the story right there, is the mac and cheese.
Yeah, so that's so these creeps bring up the fact that they have the identity seeds, which are these seeds that they need to feed to the kids in the school,
which are described as looking like little chocolate bits, like Hershey's Kisses.
Yeah, so these seeds need to be given to the kids at this school. Again, this great alien race has come down to transform one school of middle schoolers into creeps, I guess, is their whole thing.
It's the logical place to start. Yes.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do it to, I don't know why they want an army of middle school creeps, but they do. It's, if you're a middle schooler reading it, it makes sense. But yeah, and so when they're trying to figure out how to feed these seeds to the kids, they suggest putting it in the cafeteria food. And like you said, In this episode, or in the book, they put it into the mac and cheese, which they talk about how no one eats. But in the episode, it has been changed to tuna casserole, which you're betrayed by. But I think turning them from purple to yellow, I don't understand. Changing it from mac and cheese to tuna casserole sounds more plausible. Are you a tuna fan?
Tuna's pretty good, yeah. I get cans of it sometimes. It's fine.
Black.
But I appreciate how in both versions of this story, there's the funny scene with the lunch ladies confronting Ricky. And being like, we have feelings, you know. We're tired of all these terrible jokes about our good home cooking, you little shit.
God, it's so fucking 90s too. I wonder if that's like still a school thing today.
I feel like food at public schools might be better now, because I remember in our McDonald's episode we went over briefly how there was like in the 2000s there was this great awakening of suddenly everybody being super concerned about unhealthy food and kids being fat. And so maybe due to that, school lunches have improved, but definitely when I was a young child, I remember it was very much a thing that it was understood that school lunches were like toxic waste.
Yeah, I was a bring my lunch to school kid, so I never really ate school lunch.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, no, I would bring my very fancy PB&J to school.
Oh, Mr. Aristocrat over here with his PB&J sandwich. I remember, it just came back to me. I remember when we had milk, but we didn't have milk cartons, we switched to plastic bags of milk that you would stab with a straw and drink out of.
What?
Due to some kind of budgetary cut or something. Yeah, that was crazy.
Plastic bags of milk?
Literally like a plastic, yes, just like a blob of milk.
Man, isn't that how they do milk in Canada or something?
I don't know what they do in Canada.
I feel like they sell bagged milk.
Who cares what they do? It's not a real country anyways.
Well, the guys who make the TV episode will disagree, as it is a show made in Canada.
Oh, well, I forgive. Well, it's, if they did Goosebumps, that's okay. I don't know what else they've done.
Dude, unfortunately, I feel like every time I find like an actor or something I like, it turns out to be Canadian, and I'm like, what the hell? Why is that? Why is everybody and everything Canadian?
I can't remember the last time I ever heard of something happening in Canada.
No, it all happens in America. It's all like American seeming things, and then you just find its origins is in Canada. Like it'd be like a Hollywood star, and then you're like, oh, and they're from Canada, and you're like, huh. Or you're like, oh, I'm watching this Goosebumps show, which is a very American feeling show and book series, and then it's shot in Canada. And I think like Are You Afraid of the Dark is shot in Canada too. They were just doing a bunch of Canadian stuff in the 90s for sure. But yeah, so they go to the lunch to stick it in the mac and cheese. He trips, fake trips, and spills the seeds, but these creeps aren't messing around. They've got backup seeds, and so he ends up stirring it into the mac and cheese, and of course nobody eats it because no one eats the mac and cheese. So after school again, they drag him back to the woods, and they're like, what? No one turned into a creep, what the heck? And he's like, oh yeah, no one eats the mac and cheese. And he's like, maybe we should bury these seeds instead. And they're like, that's not something the commander would suggest. So now these guys become super suspicious of Ricky. And then in pops superstar Iris. And she's like, no. Back off. He's the commander, and I'm his assistant. We're going to put these seeds in the school bake sale. And they're like, okay, cool, kids like to eat sweets. Perfect opportunity to do it.
Yeah, because Iris, I guess we forgot to mention, Iris is, as part of her attempts to befriend Ricky, she asks him to participate in her bake sale to help her with her cookies.
Right, yeah. Go shopping with her, get the stuff for the bake sale, right? She does do that.
It's very cute. I kept, as I was reading the book, I just kept coming back to the word cute. I found the writing very charming, and like its portrayal of childhood and childishness.
Yeah, it's a super sweet relationship or friendship, whatever, that they have, and it's super nice seeing how kind and brave she is, because she comes in claiming to be one of the creeps also, and confirming him that he's the commander creep,
yeah,
even though he knows he's not. And yeah, later on, she does let him know that she's not actually a creep, but she saw them transform. And yeah, instead of running away, she hops in to help him. Well, I mean, how badass is that? You know for a fact that if it was the other way around, I believe Ricky would have ran away.
Yeah, Ricky's very beaten down. He's such a wiener. Although, I will say that in the show, I feel like he's portrayed as a lot more of a stereotypical nerd than I was expecting, because when I was reading the book, I was just picturing like a normal kid, basically, just like a normal 90s kid. And in the show, he's got like these awkward glasses and like this vest on, and they just like make him look as schlubby as possible and really push the stereotypical nerd angle, which I wasn't necessarily picturing.
They do. They push it really big in the episode. Yeah, no, also not how I pictured. Probably not really how I pictured any of these characters.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they put them into the cookies, and like you said earlier, since they look like chocolate chips, they look like chocolate chip cookies now. And they're having the bake sale, and they're going to have free chocolate chip cookies, so everyone wants one, right? But, you know, Ricky, in a moment of braveness, sticking up for his species and what is right, stands up to tell everyone to not eat the cookies. But does anybody listen? No. They just call him names, and they start throwing shit at him.
Sticky Ricky, Sticky Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky Rat. Oh, my God, all the names. And the creeps remind him that when these guys become creeps, he's their leader, and they're his slaves. So in this, in this big twist that they do, you're thinking this kid's, trying to save everybody, but he's sick of everyone being mean to him, and so he changes, and he's like, yeah, go ahead, eat the cookies, and then he eats one himself.
In the TV episode, there's a shot where you see Iris being like, no, don't do it, and he looks at her and he's like, sorry, if you can't beat him, join him. But in the book, that doesn't happen at all. She just kind of falls off the face of the earth, disappears at that point. But like, it makes sense given how uniquely targeted this kid is, that when the creeps are like, hey, listen, all these people are literally going to be your slaves. To me, I'm like, you should have led with that. I would have been on board. Like, you would have been halfway through that sentence, and I'd be eating that cookie.
Right, yeah. No, I love that they added that scene in the episode where, she doesn't want him to do it, and he's like, sorry.
That's the one thing I liked better about the episode.
I agree.
Everything else I liked better about the book.
It does make you wonder what happens to her if everyone else eats them and he eats it. I mean, I don't know. Again, like, their plan is to like take over the world or something.
I guess she just escapes as the one person who gets away, like the girl at the end of every slasher movie.
Maybe. Did these guys eat the students?
Good question.
Do they enslave humans?
Because what do the creeps do?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what exactly they do. So, I mean, I don't know what the fate of Iris is. Does she take his advice, and if you can't beat him, does she join them? Or you never know what happens. Hopefully, she isn't eaten or enslaved. But, you also know in your head that that's going to go south, because they'll do this and they'll like report back like, hey, we did it with the help of the commander, and the real commander's going to be like, the who? I haven't been down there. And
it seems like these kids don't need a commander. It seems like they've got things pretty covered on their own.
Right.
And just like using the need to use Ricky as the guy who does anything seems like an unnecessary complication.
Oh, it really is. Yeah, like the four creeps that are down there already just pretty much almost take no direction or have no need of him at all, and honestly go about, I feel like, pushing him around, bossing him around a little more, and than you would expect. There's a little less respect to authority there, I feel like, while at the same time claiming his authority. But again, once he's found out as not the actual commander, he just becomes one of the regular creeps, and then none of these kids will end up being his followers. That'll be a pretty sick twist of fate for him later on when he decides to do the bad thing for his own personal gain. When it comes to like probably the military strategic organization, this middle school kid's probably gonna fall short.
I think you might be giving it a bit more thought than R.L. Stine did. I think it's just I like to assume that he just rules the school or something like that. The end, happily ever after.
Yeah, no, I like that idea better. But yeah, no, and I think R.L. Stein, in his contracts, he has to like pump these out pretty fast, and he does pump them out pretty fast. He is still, as far as I know, writing Goosebump books left and right.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's new Goosebump books all the time. I know he's got I know I've read recently, he's got like a big contract where like, I think every other Goosebump book he writes has to be about Slappy the Dummy.
Oh, that's sad. That's sad. I don't really like that.
Yeah, no, I know he's pretty bored with that same character over and over again, Slappy the Dummy.
So he's engaged in indentured servitude. He can't stop writing these things.
Pretty much, yeah. He's just got a formula, and I can't remember the exact time frame, but he's got like a really short time frame that he cranks these books out. Like, I'm making this number up, could be totally wrong, but like he like writes like a Goosebump books in like 2 weeks or something like that.
He's got to be pretty old by this point. I feel like he was always like perpetually like 65 years old.
Right? Yeah. No, he seemed old back then, man. Yeah, only getting older, but yeah. No, I said very right. He probably feels a little bit like an indentured slave or something like that. But so these are some of the best-selling books of all time. So probably not the worst gig to have.
The moral of this story seems to be that human slavery is permissible under certain circumstances. I'll just assume that was R.L. Stein's intention.
Yeah, and if anyone ever bullies you, always take revenge.
Oh yeah, that too.
If you ever get an opportunity to choose power over good, choose power.
Always, always, always.
These are the great moral lessons.
To be honest, Bryce, I am glad that it ended the way that it did, because I had assumed, it's been a long time since I've read Goosebumps, so I just kind of assumed it would be the typical kid's book ending where it's like he foils the plan and he takes the fall, but then he's vindicated and everything ends up in a nice, neat little box. I'd rather see Ricky get his revenge, and like at the end of the day, he does. It's at a cost to himself, I suppose, but he gets
right
to come out on top.
You could assume, if you're familiar with Goosebumps, you could probably assume that, yeah, he like foils. You could assume at the end of this book, he foils the plans of the creeps and succeeds in not transforming anyone into it. But then, there was one last cookie left undestroyed, and Iris, like I feel like a normal twist ending would be like Iris eats the last cookie, not knowing it's the one. You're like, oh, and that'd be you're like, oh no, twist ending. But this is like, yeah, this is again for a kid's book. This just feels like a really dark twist ending, which is why I loved it so much. It was immediately, it's one of those things you never get, is the bad guys win in this, and in a way you could say the good guy wins too, but the bad guys in general, for humanity, the villains win, and it's such a it's very gives you goosebumps a little bit, man. The ending literally gives you goosebumps a little bit. It's so good.
Yeah, it's a very strong story, and like I said before, I was surprised by how well written it actually was, and how much depth the protagonist has, and how accurately it portrays. It's all kind of over the top and cartoony to a degree, especially with the fantastical elements, but its actual portrayal of childhood and children is somewhat accurate. R.L. Stein really is in touch with his inner child, judging from this book and the way the characters are fleshed out and presented. He's really in tune with what it's like to be a kid and the mindset of a child, the feelings of a child. And so that's what I found most interesting about the story, I think, is just the weird emotional stuff with the way Ricky's portrayed.
Yeah, no, and that's something I feel like he nails in this book and in the others, is figuring out how it is to be a kid at this point in time. He does a really good job of capturing the time and capturing the youth, I think.
Well, at some point we're going to have to talk about the Night of the Living Dummy, I'm sure.
Dude, honestly,
one of these days. It seems like we have to, right?
If we can go on with this forever, like I hope we will, Yeah, we will definitely cover, again, I think the original 52 books. I probably won't cover any of the other ones after that. But I would probably be happy doing a separate 52 episodes for each book for this series over time, which is a lot of episodes. But man, here's hoping so. But yeah, we will definitely, at the very least, get to some of the very important ones like Night of the Living Dummy, Haunted Mask, Monster Blood.
We should definitely do like the medieval torture chamber museum episode, whatever that one's called. I'd like to revisit that one too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We'll get to all of them.
Speaking of the TV show, it's funny, when I was in like high school, like 15 or 16 years old, around Halloween time, they were playing some reruns of old Goosebumps episodes, and I checked out an episode on TV as a teenager just to take a trip down memory lane and see how it held up. And I remember thinking, man, this show is ass. This is not... I might have just picked a bad episode or something, but I was like, shit, this is not good, man.
No, the series kind of sucks. If it was the series by itself and there weren't any books, I'm not sure I would care about Goosebumps as much. Okay, yes, I was just going to go ahead and point out some more of the differences in the book and the episode. Again, we talked about the difference between the macaroni and the tuna surprise, the difference in Iris trying to stop Ricky at the end of the episode, not in the book. How the characters like Iris and Tasha are portrayed differently in the television show than in the book. They also, for whatever reason, change all the phone numbers are different. The phone number they have in the book and the phone number on the front cover and the phone number in the television episode are all different. They all say 555, like all fake phone numbers do. But yeah, for whatever reason, they changed the last ones. And then we talked about, there were 3 in the episode, but there were 4 in the book. The creeps are yellow in the episode, purple in the book. There's Ricky's parents aren't in the episode. In the episode, oh my god, this is probably the worst part. Those bullies in the show, where they have Wart eat a raw onion and then breathe in Ricky's face, and due to that, they're like, we'll have him breathe on you again if you don't sing Mary Had a Little Lamb. And so he's forced to sing Mary Had a Little Lamb in the hallway while everyone stands around laughing at him. Super bad.
Genuinely kind of nasty.
Yeah. And then, so this is episode 19 of season 2 of Goosebumps, released in February of 1997 on Fox Kids, directed by Craig Price. Some of the actors in here, we have Zachary Carlin as Ricky, who also plays in an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? I'm hoping I'm saying her name right. Hamil Rustia as Iris, also plays in Are You Afraid of the Dark? And a later Goosebumps episode. Maya Fillar plays Tasha, and she's also in Are You Afraid of the Dark? And voiced one of the characters in the Magic School Bus, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that freaking show.
Oh man, I've actually been watching the Magic School Bus recently.
That was a big deal for me as a kid. Is there like a spooky episode of that show that we could find an excuse to talk about it?
Boy, howdy, is there. It's a spooky music episode.
Oh, yeah?
It's like a Halloween music episode. It's super good. We actually watched it recently with my daughters. Great show. We'll definitely have to do that. And so as much as this is a book made into an episode, this episode was later remade into a book. That's different than the original book in the separate Goosebumps Presents series. It's pretty weird. It's pretty weird when a book gets made into a show or a movie and then the movie or show gets a separate adaptation back into a book.
I'm assuming it's not R.L. Stine who wrote it.
No, I would assume it's R.L. Stine.
I don't really see the point of that, so okay. I mean, the original book is good. The show really compresses it down, takes a lot of things out, a lot of context out, and then R.L. Stine adapted the show back into a book. I guess I'd be interested in reading it because I did like the original book.
Yeah, there's a bunch of... This is a an unbelievable amount of separate Goosebumps series. I tried keeping track of them when I was younger. I did like the Choose Your Adventure style ones.
Yeah, I thought there was only an original series. I've never been made aware of there being a reboot or a continuation at all.
There are tons of different iterations of Goosebumps.
Oh, that's a shame.
Oh yeah, it's good for him. I'm glad he's doing it, and I'm hoping he's enjoying it, but probably not for me. But who knows? Maybe, hopefully kids still enjoy them and have new things they'll get to read.
I feel like at this point it would be more for like nostalgic adults.
Right.
I don't know if kids nowadays are into Goosebumps per se.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope so. If you are a kid or you have kids yourself, please get them into Goosebumps.
Indeed, Bryce, indeed. But if I may pose the question.
Do it.
Because I'm dying to know, although I suppose I already know the answer, to how many disembodied skulls out of 10 would this story get from you?
I will go ahead and give this a 9 out of 10 disembodied human skulls.
Oh, a well-measured response. Okay. I can see that. Strong but not perfect.
Strong but not perfect. I think it's again I think it's super great, and I think it just has an incredible the ending is what does it for. The ending like just skyrockets the whole book for me. If it didn't have the ending it had, there's a lot of the Goosebumps books I would like a lot better than this one. It's still very good, but it wouldn't have the oomph it has to me. And so yeah, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. What about you?
I always try to be as impartial as I can be. Do I judge this as in the context of as compared to other Goosebumps books and episodes, or as like, I don't know, its general value? I'm going to go ahead and say like 7.5 out of 10 feels right to me, which is still well above average, because to me 5 is average. So this was very good. I enjoyed it quite a lot. The TV episode was fun. I guess that's kind of a separate thing. That would be more of like a 6 for me. But the book was very enjoyable. I like the way R.L. Stine writes children. I like the Ricky character. I like the stuff with Iris. I like the fantastical science fiction elements, the horror elements, I suppose, are very silly, nonsensical. Nothing about this is to be taken seriously. But I found myself getting a little bit swept away in just like the kind of mundane melodrama of being a freaking 10-year-old, which is well portrayed here. And like, I give it a lot of credit for that. I give R.L. Stine a lot of credit for writing kids very well. Better than adult authors normally write kids, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, yeah, these always super relatable characters. Yeah, R.L. Stine, absolute genius, amazing author. Definitely one of my favorites of all time. Doesn't matter if they're kids' books. I still enjoy reading them to this day, and I'm having a lot of fun reading them to my kids now.
You're making sure to bring up your own children in the cult of Halloween, the cult of calling all creeps.
Yes, as members of the October Society.
Indeed, Bryce.
Yeah, so I would probably give this episode 6.5 out of 10.
Look at that. I assumed you were going to come on here and be like, yeah, this was crafted by gods. 11 skulls out of 10. New rating system. Oh. Sometimes it's hard to predict how much you're going to like something. It's
As much as I like the series, the television series, I don't know. The fact that the book series is there, it feels super lackluster compared to the book series to me.
Yeah, it's just too compressed.
But some of them are really, really good. Like I do love the series as a whole. And this one does a pretty good job of following the book pretty true to fashion, which I enjoy. I don't like when they have to make a bunch of changes, but do anyways. The example given, like, why make them yellow when they're purple? It doesn't seem like it would have been.
Man, you're really bothered by that.
Yeah, well, it kills me. It's such a simple thing. I don't know how you mess it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why it's called an adaptation, Bryce. It's just one of those things.
It's just one of those things. Yeah, unfortunately.
It's like a cover of a song.
Man, what about that theme song, though, huh?
What, the Goosebumps theme song?
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's incredibly iconic. I don't know, it makes me feel kind of strong emotions. It just brings back the feeling of being that age very, very powerfully. It's cool.
Goosebumps, fucking awesome. Calling All Creeps, badass. Cool name. If you like that shit, you should be listening to us all the time. 24/7, Calling All Creeps.
Yeah, and well, speaking of Calling All Creeps, Bryce is working on an album for his music project called Calling All Creeps, which is going to be out soon, maybe?
Yeah, I'm trying to... I finished it recently, and I'm going back over it and refinishing it better, which is fun. But, the better it can be, the better it will be. So, yeah, and then, as much as I'd like to get it done and put it out the next day or something, we are working on a bunch of projects in the October Society right now. Again, while you're waiting, go ahead and check out the first Calling All Creeps album, Grave Rat, wherever you listen to music. It's probably there. The show is out everywhere. Nathan and I are working on 2 other musical projects together, a goth rock album called Witch Bones, which will be out soon, and we're also working together on a dark wave synth pop kind of EP called Sewer Springs, also coming your way soon. And then there will be the Calling All Creeps album coming out, and then there will be another Calling All Creeps EP after that. And then I've got another project I'm working on that'll be an October Society release, as well as a bunch of stuff I'm not ready to announce yet, but it's all in the works. I've got 4 or 5 other things I'm working on, and Nathan is, working his ass off with me on all of this, making sure it's all the best it can be, because Nathan is a lot better at everything than I am, and so he's
Bryce is just like putting various albums and EPs in his canon and shooting them over to me, and I am like producing things as quickly as possible. Although it's been very interesting. I've been able to flex my muscles as a producer more recently, which has always been something I wanted to do.
Yeah, I'm so stoked to share all this with you, because, toot my own horn, but it's all super awesome.
Yeah, well, by the time this episode comes out, some of these music projects might already be released, because we're recording these weeks in advance. So I would imagine the Witch Bones album and the Sewer Springs EP are probably both out by the time you're listening to this, and I'll even include a song from one of those projects at the end of this episode to give the listeners a little sampling of the goods.
Yeah, no, that's true. Maybe by the time this episode is out, some of this music will already be released, and and we'll be talking about some of the other cool things we are doing. So if you're a fellow creep, come on and join us over at the October Society and check out all that we're doing.
Yeah, and if you don't, me and Bryce will find you and physically harm you.
We'll definitely check you off on the list of people to haunt in the afterlife.
Indeed. Well, Bryce, do you have any closing comments to make about Goosebumps or this episode or anything in general having to do with the October Society?
No, I think that is it for tonight. Oh, I probably should have said this at the beginning, but, listener, beware, you were probably in for a scare. God damn, I should have used that earlier. Whatever. But until next time, bad dreams.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
Drips from her fingertips. She's got long, sharp nails and itchy tips. She has red blood stains on her canine teeth, a tattoo on her chest and no heart underneath. When it's full and bright, she howls at the moon. Fresh cemetery dirt smeared on her wound. She's got pale yellow eyes and a taste for flesh, so you better run for cover or you might be next. She's dead, she's the living dead, she's the undead. She's dead. dead, she's the living dead, she's the undead. Is she woman or is she beast? Can't tell if she is living or deceased. She is some kind of evil that has no name. She is feral and wild and can't be tamed. She's a creature of the night. She walks in shadows and hisses at lights. She slithers and slides like a snake she glides. And she's asking me if I'd like to go for a ride. She's dead, she's the living dead, she's the undead. She's dead, she's the living dead, she's the undead.